those kind of games, June's Journeys, that kind of thing. I wanted to make sure I stayed connected so that no matter what device I used, I would be able to get back to my same place. But when I started my podcast, I Don't Look Like What I've Been Through, they literally made me make a Facebook page. So I had to put my name on there. So people start reaching out to me. And boy, did they start reaching out to me. Now, one of the first things that I wanted to accomplish when I decided to just disconnect myself is to prove that I could be out of sight and out of mind and still be dragged into bullshit. And it was so funny because I really wanted to prove this to my husband, because my husband just, ain't nobody thinking about you. You always thought that I was just batshit crazy. But, I mean, with no contact from anybody, I was being dragged into shit that it just had nothing to do with me. There was one instance where this girl had purchased a picture or art. And I'm not going to say a picture. My daughter is an artist. And when I say artist, I mean artist. She draws her ass off. She has talents that exceed far beyond that I even could have imagined. Well, she did this artwork for a friend of mine, and she broke her off a really good deal, bought all the best paints because, it's my friend. She wanted to make sure that it was cool. Well, the friend, out of nowhere, reaches out to me, and she's complaining and whatever, blase boop about the painting. I really didn't give a shit. Like I had tried to tell her, I have nothing to do with that. My daughter is grown. You grown. It was a business deal. Y'all work that shit out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Even after I told her everything that I was going through, the reason that I had disconnected and what I was going through mentally, she still came back and was like, well, I don't like the way your daughter's responding, so I was hoping that you could send me the money back since I didn't like the picture she originally painted. Huh? First of all, she paints freehand. Number two, she's an artist. If you had a vision of what you wanted the picture to look like, you probably should have drew a sketch of it so she can have an idea. But an artist is an artist. When you tell an artist to draw something, they visualize and they throw that shit on that paint, and it is what it is. And might I add, it turned out absolutely gorgeous. It was an amazing picture. Like, I wish I could have took her faces that she had on there and implemented my kids' faces on that painting because it was fucking amazing. But anyway, here I am being dragged into a situation that had nothing to do with me. I was too done. So I blocked her and was like, okay, that wasn't it. But then I started getting a fluctuation of, requests of people like, where are you at? What are you doing? Reaching out to my husband. They were reaching out to my kids on Facebook, things like that. And if they reached out, that means they were actually looking for me. I did reach back out to every last one of them, and I gave every last one of them the speech. I have to be honest, to this day, it's been 2020. I am now going into year 2, September 2022, and I still have the same 10 friends that I ended up with after I did my long speech about how I'm going to be where I'm going to be. Social media will absolutely drag you into a world where you forget who you are. You forget what's real. And I'm telling you, it's so easy to fall into that rabbit hole because all these pictures and all these stories make you think people are living these lives and doing these things that they really not doing. So I had to first focus on me and what's going on with me so that if I did have to re-enter into the social media way of communicating of the world, I have to be able to better handle myself. And I feel like Yahweh was truly testing me when I got back on social media. Because the first thing I found out when I got back on social media, oh my God, is I was implemented into a PPP loan scam. Now listen, I don't know anything about the PPP loan scam. I just heard a whole bunch of shit went down. Now, I don't even know how my name even got tangled into it. I just know that first it was just little snippets of it, and then it was like this big old thing, and I knew that people were trying to drag me into this like way before I got this information, but I always tried to make it very, very clear to everybody, hey, I don't know what the shit is about. The program was never mine to begin with. I was hired like everybody else was. It was a free program. But for some reason, I don't know if it is true or not. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't get into business that don't belong to me. All I had to make sure is that I didn't get dragged into this one, because the program that I worked for had actually been part of a scam when I was working there. And I had receipts, baby, honey. I bind up full of receipts to the point to when the IRS took a look at my books and looked at how I kept up with every receipt for 5 years. I don't throw nothing away. As a matter of fact, I still have all that information from when I worked there, just in case. Because it's federal money. When federal money loan you money, they don't play no games, and I don't do jail. So all my T's was crossed and all my I's was dotted. So when I got over there, hey, I ain't touched your little $30,000. I don't know who the hell got your money, but it ain't me. So anyway, I'm very particular about my paperwork. On top of my OCD, I don't lose nothing, and I don't I don't throw nothing away. So anyway, I found out about that. Open up my Facebook, and not even a week later, thank God a good friend had already told me about some shit that had been going on there before. She left the job. So I was kind of got a heads up, like it was some bullshit in the game. Well, anyway, by the time I got the phone call and the questions about what did I know, I was able to answer them motherfuckers on point. No, I don't know nothing. No, I didn't. I don't know. And sir, please check my bank statements. All them motherfuckers say -10, and you ain't gonna see no transactions on my account over the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years from Indiana, except for maybe a child support payment. Other than that, ain't nothing there. So I got that all cleared up and everything, but it was still amazing that I've been out of the city of Indianapolis for 5 years in July. And yet and still, without any contact with any other people that are affiliated with the program or anything, with the school or anything, I would still implement it. And it was just like, it made me laugh. And that wasn't the last thing. There was also an issue that had come up where I was part of some kind of, oh God, how did it go? For some reason, they thought that, I had started up this whole ordeal where people were arguing about an event that happened down in Indianapolis during Black Lives Matter, and there was an argument about who's right or who's wrong. Should he been shot? It was a whole bunch of other shit. And listen, I didn't know the boy that got shot. I didn't know the police officer that shot him. But for some reason, two people got to arguing about it, and out of nowhere, they just tagged me. So, Alicia, this is what I'm talking about. So, what you did? What do you think? I didn't think nothing. I had nothing to do with none of that. But I went ahead and I told the guy the honest truth. I let him know how I feel. I mean, and it pissed some people off, but I didn't care. Many of you that have read my book, God's Broken Little Baby, you guys know how my brother died. Many of you know how my brother died if you've read my book. But one of the things that I had to tell them on social media is, no, I wasn't angry about my brother being killed. My brother put himself in a situation that you heighten the opportunity for something to happen to you. He did something very, very bad. And when you walk into a situation doing something very, very bad, you don't get to pick and choose the consequences of the shit that you do. You don't get to pick what happens to you when you do things that are not about the right. So regardless to whether the boy was right or wrong, or whether the police was right or wrong, leave me out this shit, because my thoughts are not always the thoughts of the majority. They are not. They are always, or not always, for the most part, always looked at as being the devil's advocate of all the time. I don't have a problem with that, because I like to look out for the bullshit. Too many scam artists out there, too many people with a sob story out there, so I try not to fall into those traps. So that was another situation that I had got dragged into, and I was just like, you know what? It's just getting to a point to where I just need to just not I just don't want to engage. I decided I no longer wanted to engage. So since that I am such an awesome person, I have always looked out for people, always did the best that I could for those that I deserve, or those that I felt like deserved being looked out for. And I'm not gonna degrade myself. I'm not gonna talk bad about myself. I'm not gonna self-talk myself into believing that what they believe is what is real for me. Good fucking peoples. And if someone else doesn't share the same sentiment, fuck them. So don't let social media and the lives of social media make you think people are living lives that they really are not living, and then compare them to your own. Take time to reflect on your own before you dive into it. And if you are already just so deep into it, I get it. But if you can, try to take at least a 30-minute break, or a 30-day break, or even just a 1-week break from it, and just try to kind of reflect on yourself and see where you are in your life, so that you don't find yourself comparing yourself to these people in these made-up lives. And I know you can see all the shit that's going on, the influencers that have gotten into altercation and she killed a boyfriend, the influencers that are claiming to be making all this money, or even the influencers that are making all this money and are losing themselves in the attraction of the money and the glam and finding nothing but sadness. Don't always believe what you see on social media. And I know you hear it all the time, but really, it can affect your mental health in a way that you don't even realize. And it could truly damage somebody that is already damaged, more so to the point that they can be considering alternatives that it's not healthy, it's not good. And don't get me wrong, I do understand the need for psychiatrists and therapists and things like that. And I know they're not always readily available. I even got new insurance this year, and unfortunately, my therapist or my psychiatrist is a PCP. So because of the insurance that I have, if I saw them face to face, it would be free. But because it's virtual, they try to charge me an $80 copay. I don't have an $80 copay. And let me tell you, as soon as they found out I didn't have that $80 copay, honey, they didn't have too much more to say to me. But that's okay. I digress. I still have Yahweh. I have prayer. I have meditation. I have a loving husband that does his best to keep my spirits up and does everything he can to make sure that I'm okay. So I'm hanging on by a thread, but I'm hanging on. I just got to get through this month of May. I'm going to be trying some new coping skills. I'm going to be trying some new activities. I'm going to pray a whole lot more than I normally pray. And I'm really going to push myself to try to not let this be something that happens every year for the rest of my days. My mom would not want me to be in this state of mind, so I'm definitely going to work my way out of this state of mind and get myself back on track and being the fun, happy person that I have always been as long as I've known myself. Once I started working on myself, it still was a horrible process. I fight with Yahweh regularly. I know I shouldn't, but he always wins. But I am one of his stubborn children, so I continue to fuss at times. I cry a lot, a whole lot. I see it as cleansing my soul now instead of hurting over things I will never be able to change. Like my mother passing away. Crying sometimes gets her to come down in my head and rub my back and let me know that everything is going to be okay. And I have come to terms with the fact that when she died, a piece of me went with her. And she's keeping it for me until I get back with her. And then I'll be whole again. But until that time, I will make her proud and be happy and find joy and do my best to be half the woman she was when she was here. And y'all have to know her to understand what I mean by that. She was a shitload of fun all the time, every family gathering, every barbecue.